Welcome to the Clark Connection podcast. So great to have you on here with us today. My name is Aaron Clark. I'm your host, aka the coach. You know me. And look, we have a special episode today. That on here with us that we're going to have one of the sponsors of the show, Andrew with Automate Integrate Services. That it's got a ton of great information in here. But before we get going with that, got a quick question for you. We've done a couple episodes now and just curious to see, how did you hear about the show? Look, drop that in the comments right now as we roll that intro footage.
This is the Clark Connection Podcast, your weekly dose of inspiration and power. We'll dive deep into the stories and strategies that ignite personal growth and entrepreneurial fire. Join us as we empower you to take control, level up your leadership, and build the life you deserve. Get ready to rise, to thrive, and to finally become the leader of your own destiny. Let's go.
Alrighty, guys, we got Andrew on here. Welcome to the show, Andrew. Andrew is the CEO of Automate Integrate Services, entrepreneur, one of the sponsors of the show, that working in IT and business marketing consultant firm. Andrew, welcome, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And so, Andrew, I know we've been on here. We kind of been chatting a little bit, catching up, and we were talking a little bit about it. Why don't you let everybody know, as the entrepreneur, man, what was your biggest struggle getting started?
To me, it was, formulating the plan and making that vision as bright as possible. I knew that I was capable of doing something, but it came down to understanding exactly what I wanted to do so I could kind of reverse engineer and find the steps that it would take for me to get there.
And so when you say reverse engineer, what do you mean reverse engineer?
So my whole approach is, you've got this macro view of like what you want your life to look like. And the best way that I've found to actually accomplish the goals of, the bigger goals is to create the micro goals that lead to that. Right. So you need to analyze exactly what step is going to move me closer to that vision. And then what are the actions that I need to take to get to that goal, move on, get to the next goal, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like micro, macro goals and just trying to, realize that vision. The second that you lose sight of that vision is the second that things start going haywire. And you'll notice it because you'll start doing things that are contrary to what push your business forward. You'll notice that you're getting distracted by, somebody wants this, somebody wants this. You're not focused on your tasks. You're just kind of getting pulled in all different directions. So that was one thing that really, really helped me.
Yeah. And so you'd said coming up with the vision. So why was that so hard to come up with? Why was the vision for the company so hard to come up with?
Because I want to do so much. In all reality, my personality is just to help people. That it's always been like that. I just love helping people. And I'm not going to try to say no, because it's just a challenge. It's just a problem to solve. And it's something that if I can help you do it, I'm going to feel great. And that's why I do it. It's innately selfish to some extent because I get the little great job, Andrew, that kind of a thing. But, I just thrive on seeing somebody's face go from tense and so much just absolute anxiety to like, thank you. Somebody fixed my problem. So for me, that was hard to actually figure out what is the business focused on, because I can help people in many different ways. But if I do too much and I offer too much, I'll never deliver.
And so when you were coming up with the business model that you did, or the company that you did, what were some other things that you were weighing? Like, does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, what you said you had multiple things you were looking at. How did you go from, hey, here was everything, this is my focus?
Well, I thought about, what is the capabilities of expanding a business when you're just, doing consulting essentially, because that was really where I was headed at first. I've got a lot of experience with tech stuff, anything that has to do with IT, but I also understand business and just marketing in general. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, so how do you take all of those things and eventually establish yourself as an authority in the space that you're trying to, and then develop products that can be, problem solvers essentially for the problems that you keep coming across as a consultant. So the whole idea of the business was first to establish myself, consultant, help people as much as I can, and then find the right solutions for the businesses that I'm serving.
Okay. And so you said establishing yourself in the space. Like what do you exactly mean? How would somebody go about establishing themselves in that space?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you just got to make connections and help people wherever you can. I mean, one of the biggest things that propelled me forward was I'm always willing to help. And I'm not necessarily going to charge any money sometimes. I'm just going to get on Zoom with you or some type of virtual meeting because you're stuck with this automation. It's going to take me 5 minutes to figure it out. It might take you 2 hours. I don't want you wasting your time. It'll take me 2 seconds. Let's just do it. And when you do that for people, they really see how much you care because you're valuing their time so incredibly much that it's a big deal to them, especially when you're not trying to charge them for something. They typically do appreciate that very much. And you know me, I just like being with my clients. I specifically choose clients, very choosy about that. But if I don't like the person as a person, I just typically don't work with them.
No. And that makes a whole lot of sense because that's one thing I tell a lot of people all the time is the main question that your customer, client, student, fill in the blank, they're asking without asking is, do you like for me? Do you like me or do you care for me? That's the number one question that they're asking of all of us. Even as we're sitting on here, as they're listening to the show, they're trying to figure out, all right, does Andrew like me? That could Andrew really help me? And can I trust Andrew? But they're doing the same thing of Aaron. They're asking us both these same things. I think that's one of the critical things in leadership is we've got to be able to show those.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, if you don't have the poise that you need to have to be that leader, to help people, to lead, essentially just to take them from point A to point B, no one's going to believe you. No one's going to follow you if you don't have any type of established confidence, I guess you could say. And that's something that for me was really hard.
Yeah. And so that you said that was really hard going from the being not being really established. What are some things that you did to show that you were established?
Well, I started posting a lot on social media about things and how you could solve problems. That's how I first started everything. I just started creating videos and sharing that people could watch and they could build it themselves. And I just kept sharing that, giving people different ideas of how that they could optimize processes, et cetera, et cetera. And I just put that out there on the internet, which gave me a lot of searchability. Then I designed the website, did the SEO on all that stuff. And, essentially what it came down to was me teaching myself all new things like every single day. And I love that. For me, if I can learn something new every day, I'm happy. It's a really big deal to continually try to grow. And I think that's why I am where I am now and why people actually do value what I say.
Yeah. And that hits on something I know I talked about it in a previous episode that once you actually get out of your formal education, you're responsible for growing you. And I know that's one I've that admired as we've worked together is just being able to bounce ideas like you were telling me about the 12-week year. And I know I just shared one that building an unstoppable team, that always looking for that way to help somebody else to grow themselves. And even though mine's looking more personal development with people, that you're helping their businesses. That's helping them grow. We're always looking to help. And that's what people are looking for in that.
Yeah, and in all reality, I feel like a lot of times I'm not even necessarily helping. It's just removing blinders. It's funny because it's the same thing as, obviously we both works in education. And a lot of times students have that narrow vision where they can't see perspectives beyond that narrow vision. Oh, I gotta go walk the dog. I gotta eat lunch. I gotta do this, that, the other. The second that you disrupt that person, you move them beyond that. That's the time when they can actually go, wait a minute, I can do this, this, and this, and then I don't have to do this anymore. And I don't like doing this, right?
Right. And it's the same thing in our own businesses too, because if we don't have somebody that just goes, like you said, me creating some automations, not very good. But if I go, all right, Andrew, I'm looking at this. I've been doing this for 2 hours, and you go, yeah, Aaron, click over there. You're like, talk to you later, bro. I'm like,
But and it's funny though, because like I do that with other people as well. You can call me and I can call you. It's the same thing. If you have something that I need help with, I know that you're always there for me. And that's how I feel like it should be with literally everybody in every industry. But a lot of times it's not. We're all in it together to try and essentially inspire a new generation of people who are going to be running the country, right? It's a big deal.
I was about to say, quite the task when you think about it.
100%.
That makes me want to go grab my blanket and get in the corner and rock back and forth.
As I said, if you just focus on helping that next person, I truly feel like you're going to find any type of success that you want to find, because you're going to be attracted to those people that have the success that you want, and you're going to learn a lot from them. And if I have anything of value to add to you that I can teach you, I'm going to do it. It should always be kind of like a trading system. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be something that's bought and sold just to make a connection with somebody and optimize either your business, yourself, or anything.
No, I agree. And so now that you got the business off the ground, you're moving. Now, how long have you been in business for yourself now?
Since January 2023, so almost a year and 6 months.
I said, nice. So yeah, that's what is it? Most businesses shut down within the first 5 years. Yep. First
2 years, and then there's the 5-year mark, and then there's the 10-year mark, and then you're pretty much solid from that point on.
Nice. And so now that you've pretty much, I'm assuming you've established a routine that you got like daily. What does that look like for you?
Problem solving all day long. Essentially, people ask me questions. They have problems, and I put it on my calendar, and I just make sure that is what I'm focused on in that time period. And I just try to solve their problems for them. A lot of them, the problems are, how do I automate this? How do I track this data? How do I ensure that, my marketing is actually giving me a return on my investment? Or am I just spending money and I'm actually making money without the money I'm spending? Right. So, and I literally have run into that before, where it's, the school is generating all of the enrollments from just just being the school, it's organic. And then they've got these other campaigns that literally they're just spinning their wheels on. So, yeah.
Right. And so now what would you say is that we got, the biggest struggle you said upstart was just figuring out, all right, I got all these ideas, focusing in. Like, what would you say is your biggest daily struggle?
Biggest daily struggle is not allowing distractions to shift my focus. And that is one of the reasons why I have that calendar that I mentioned. My calendar is constantly going off with different reminders to shift to, this client, this client, this client. I have to make sure that I'm managing it in that way so that I'm giving everybody the attention that they deserve, that they need. So I try and essentially problem solve with the most important things. Somebody's leads are not even getting called. That's an emergency, right? Somebody's leads are not even going into the CRM. An absolute emergency, right? So those things are going to take precedence over something where somebody goes, can you build me a fancy automation where there's a video of a lizard climbing a tree? It jumps down, like that kind of stuff. It can always be pushed to the side, right? But when it comes to a client's business and what they need to run that business, I'm me, I jump.
Yeah. And so that kind of brings me back. I know I'm skipped over it at the start just because when we were going through, I was like, oh, let's talk about those struggles. But what is automate integrate? What is
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Actually, how did you come up with the name?
Well,
to
be honest,
I'm stumbling over it multiple times to get it right.
All right. And it's funny, I always thought that it was catchy. Automate integrate. I thought it is catchy. So the reason I chose that name, there's actually a couple of reasons for it. First was, what I typically focus on is automating your processes, which makes you more efficient, saves you time, saves you money, and then also integrating different systems so that they're all talking together, right? A lot of times there's silos in businesses where information is captured and it's not actually passed on correctly to the next stage of the sales process, right? And if you don't have that, it makes your decision-making process extremely difficult. So what I really want to focus on is automating and integrating processes so that a business owner can just click a button and say, wow, we're doing awesome. See ya. That's what I want to do. I want people to save time. I want them to save money. And I want them to have the tools that they need to actually tell, am I being successful or am I spinning my wheels? So it's a consulting firm focused on optimizing processes, business, marketing, IT, the whole nine.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because I know as somebody who is essentially the sales director, it sometimes is like, all right, so what's going on over here? What's going over here? Why can't I get these two to talk? And having the ability to create that team environment is quite the task for those of us who are leaders and leading teams, big teams and what have you. And when I say a big team, if you got more than 5 people, you've got a big team, because
yes, I agree.
There's a lot of personalities.
Effective managers are only supposed to be managing 5 people.
And so, oh yeah, no, I agree. It's a lot trying to get the departments just to communicate and understand, like you were saying, we're all a team. And so those silos do create where it's like, we are this department. We are this department. We don't talk to those guys.
Yeah. And you know what? If they don't want to talk, that's all good. If at least your information systems talk. Right?
Yes.
Because you don't have to have the conversation if the data populates on their end and they don't have to say anything to you. And that's kind of my point, is that the amount of time wasted having silos in your business, especially in regards to your tech stack, is absolutely substantial. It's ridiculous how many people will just waste time chasing this person down to connect them with this person who happens to be sick today. So let's push that back. Oh, but this person has a day off. You see what I mean? It's a lot of coordinating, a lot of wasting time, whereas the problems could be just solved by optimizing the process and using the IT systems in the way that you need to.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. And so one of the other questions I'd had, and I think you touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to ask it again about the automation solutions. What exactly does that do? And is that just for education business, or could that be for if I had a clothing store?
That is a fabulous question. Actually, I don't just work with people in education. I work with, property managers, real estate agents, anything. It doesn't matter. If you have a business, there is a way to optimize your business. And I truly feel like that's true, because if you're not trying to optimize and grow every single day, you will get run over. So for me, automation is the best way for somebody to become more efficient, right? Automation is essentially saying, if this happens, then this happens. It creates a bridge that allows essentially time to not be wasted, because all this data is being passed over and telling you what you need to do. Because all of your decisions should be data driven and not just, I feel that Jerry does a wonderful job on the phone calls. His show rate is 10%. But he's Jerry, and I like Jerry. Sorry, Jerry, you gotta go.
And so, yeah, knowing that now, all right, so seeing how to help and optimize the people in their businesses, what's working, what's not working. Do you have like an example of somebody that you helped maybe recently as they were working through their processes to get better, to remove, as you said, the blinders, because they like Jerry, but Jerry's costing me a lot of money.
Yeah,
not necessarily in that one. I'm just picking on Jerry since you said Jerry.
Yeah, that's all good. All good. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest things that you can do for a client, and this is for any type of business that might have appointment setting or some type of scheduling involved. So, doctors, chiropractors, et cetera, anybody like that, a confirmation and reminder system. If you do not have that and you set appointments, you are missing out on money. End of story. Now, you might be training your agents to do that stuff manually, but what could they be doing instead? going after new business. Why would you bother having them send out the reminder text message when they could be making a phone call trying to get more business in for that day?
Right. And so how would that make somebody more efficient having those automation reminders set up already?
So it's essentially a tool for you. It's like having an assistant remind your people about things that you set up for them. And you can do this in many different instances. It doesn't have to just be appointment setting. For example, say you have somebody who is interested in a product or service, they were going to go buy it, and then all of a sudden they decided to just abandon their cart. This is for like a Shopify store or something along those lines, right? What you want to do for that person is enter them into a nurturing sequence after that, because it's not that they weren't interested. It's that something caused them to not take that final step and actually pay for the product or the service. So what you want to do is elicit that emotional response that brings them back to that page and says, you know what? The money that I'm spending on this doesn't matter so much as the value and the enjoyment that I'm going to get out of buying it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense now.
Well, if you've ever been on any of those, e-commerce sites, that's what happens. But the second that you navigate away, check your Facebook. Go ahead and just check your Facebook and tell me if in the next 5 scrolls, you don't have an ad from that specific website.
Just about every time. Just about every time.
100%. It's funny, even if I say it out loud sometimes.
Yes.
I feed, and I'm like, I didn't go to the website, but hey, it's there. It's there anyways.
I mean, I'm about to cover my phone's ears. Like, don't listen to what I'm about to say.
Earmuffs.
Right, earmuffs, yes. You can say whatever you want. Oh man. Hey, good stuff. And so now, how did you get started in the industry? Like, what was it that led
that was absolutely strange. Everything that, I'm a big believer in things happen the way they're supposed to. You kind of just have to go with the flow. And this is definitely no different than that. This instance, I can't explain it, because even the person who got me into this whole education thing still to this day does not know how I saw what I saw. So let me back up and actually tell this story a little bit here. So I actually owned a restaurant, right? I had a pizza shop. My wife and I were just, flipping pizzas, doing great, awesome reviews. Everybody in the area is coming around, but it's a lot of work. It's long days. It's crazy. There's not a lot of sleep. You cannot have a family yet. So as we're getting established, my wife comes to me and says, at this point, I think we should just sell it and just move back, start having kids. I think that we're ready for that at this point. So that's what we did. We sold it, took the money, we got a house, had kids. And then I was just living and just kind of looking for what's my next step in life. And I saw a Craigslist ad for an appointment setting position for colleges and schools. So I typically don't look on Craigslist. I still don't remember how I even saw that ad, but for some reason I clicked on it because it was talking about emotional experiences, inspiring somebody, helping people. And as I said before, that's my thing, right? It doesn't matter how I'm helping you. I love to help. So I contacted them, and I got a call back from this guy. His name is Lexington. And it's history from there. Because to be honest, if you talk to Lex about this to this day, he goes, I wasn't going to hire any more people, especially not somebody like you who's remote in a completely different state. It's just, you had something about you where I was like, you know what, let's do this. And to me, that's almost like this divine intervention, when something's supposed to happen, it just happens. And I went on to lead that company. I grew that to, the appointment experts, and I was running the whole division. We grew up to 20 or 30 agents. We had 15 to 20 different schools that we're setting appointments for. So it got pretty big, and we had a really good time doing it. And then eventually it got to the point where I had been exposed to so many different IT systems, CRMs, dialers, just appointment setting, analysis, reporting, that kind of a thing. I just realized how much of a need that there was for somebody to step in and actually explain what 90% of that stuff does. So I took that idea and I started explaining it. And just like I told you, then I was like, you know what? Why don't I do this on the internet? So I started creating those automations where I'd share a video of how to create a Facebook automation, how to do this kind of automation. And then from there, it just, I don't know, I just followed what I felt was right. And I ended up here.
And that's cool. That's cool because I do remember, like, because I know we met through Lexington.
Yes, we did.
Lex is how we came to know each other, and like when he was telling me, yes, that guy, my guy Andrew, I found him on Craigslist, and I was like, you can hire people off of Craigslist? Because I mean, I've never really gotten on Craigslist ever, but it was just one of those. I was like, I hadn't heard anybody ever say anything good about Craigslist.
That was my perspective too, sir. I swear to you. But my wife was like, if you're looking for other types of jobs, just look everywhere. So I was like, all right, I've never been on Craigslist. Let's hope it's not some sort of really creepy person trying to catfish me. But I was really scared of that. I really was. I talked to my parents about it. I was like, do you think this guy's legit? Why was this on Craigslist? And my parents looked him up. They're like, no, this is good. It's legit. Just go for it.
They wasn't asking like, can you come to the basement and
oh man,
and that
was fun. It's funny too because it was literally the first ad I saw when I went on it, and I never went back. Never been back to the site.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought one of the cool things you said too was, you know, that you went and asked your parents about it. So like,
oh yeah,
I don't think people realize how on they are.
I sent them the Craigslist ad and said, does this look legit? Is this for real?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no doubt. And that's one that I think is important too, because I know I'm actually doing another episode on mentors and the importance of mentors and having somebody you trust that you can say, hey, is this legit? Or am I getting catfished? Is this a scam? And dude, that's so awesome. I love that story because I remember thinking that, like, yeah, there's no way I'd have put anything on Craigslist.
And it's so funny too because it literally just said text this number. Oh man, one of the best risks that I ever took in my life, because I'll tell you what, Lexington taught me a lot about personal growth and professional growth. And that's one of the main reasons why I got to where I was and where I am now, because I learned so much about confidence and just understanding what it means to be grounded and to lead people. So I hope you're doing one with him. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yes.
That's
that we
awesome.
are.
Oh, I'm
We
excited
are, yeah.
for that because that's going to be a great one.
Right. And I still consider Lexington to be one of my mentors, man. I
Absolutely.
love. And like, I hate when I got to cancel a meeting with him. I'm like Lex, like I feel bad. Like I'm letting him down. I know I'm not, but it's like, Lexington, I've got to cancel this meeting. There's an issue going on.
He always understands. Always understands.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that, and you touched on this, that one that I always love to know, that is your why. What is your why? Like, why does Andrew do what Andrew does?
I most people just say because he's nuts. That's that. If you ask anybody,
but I'm asking you, not anybody.
If you're asking me, I'd have to say it is my empathetic soul. It's just my innate need to help someone, and especially when it has to do with business, because for whatever reason, my entire life I've always formulated businesses in my head whenever I see a problem. I mean, this has started since I was in high school. I've had multiple businesses, and I've always just kind of thought strategically in that way. So
you said you've had multiple business, always done that. How many businesses have you had?
I think 4 at this point.
4 at this point?
Yeah.
And so the other 3, How did they go? Well, I know you don't want to go into all the details.
So the first venture I remember we did, it was called Wave Source. Now this might have been the second venture actually, because this one was in college with my friend Elliot. He's absolutely amazing marketer, works for UMBC now as their head marketing guy.
Nice.
But we essentially did something similar to what I'm doing right now, but it was focused on financials essentially, because I actually went to school for forensic accounting. And the guy was like, I know marketing, I know how to build websites, I know all this stuff. All I need you to do is analyze the data and tell the clients exactly what they need to do to make more money. And I was like, done. So that's how we started out. We worked with a jeweler and all sorts of different, just random businesses. And then eventually, it got too hard because we were still in college. And then I transferred schools, went to a different college, yada, yada, yada. So that was over. The business
we didn't really have
was
the Zoom and whatnot.
Yeah.
College. So we still had flip phones, man. Flip phones.
Yes. Oh yeah. During that time, yeah. Yeah. Nokia was still actually like Nokia.
I was going to say, with all the cool light up stuff on it, you weren't cool if you didn't have that stuff.
And you could download those ringtones that weren't actual songs. They're just like people playing with the buttons on. It's like, yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, the business after that one was the pizza shop, which everybody loved the food there. We had really great Yelp reviews, but it was just so much to take on. And at that time, what I needed to learn was that I can't control everything. And guess what I did at that shop?
You let go. You let everybody did.
I'm serious. Anybody who would say, "Oh, I can do that," I'd be like, "Are you gonna put that corner down? No, get out of the way."
So you were that guy.
Yeah, because I'm so OCD about things, and I just wanted it to be perfect because my vision was, we're the best. We are the best. We're the authentic, like Philly style type pizza. So I was obsessed with that. And then what I learned was that doesn't help you. If you don't work on your business and you're just inside of your business, it does not grow. It does not go anywhere. And what I didn't have time for at that time in my life was something that I focus on so much now with my other clients, marketing.
Marketing. Yes.
Which ad is actually resulting in an enrollment. If you don't know, that's a problem. If you're just saying to some random marketing company, here's $5,000, you can have that every single month. You could just do the marketing. What if they only spent $1,000 and they get you all these people? They just pocket the rest of that money. To me, it's a disservice. I would want to maximize my investment.
Yeah. No, that was one my grandfather always said about advertising. He said that the key to any business is, he said, if you ever want to be successful, it's late to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise, and advertise some more.
And it's true.
So it's interesting that's what you said. That's what hurt in that business. You didn't really know how to do the marketing, then wrapping it as you you micromanage. I was like, what is that? Where are you just like, hey, are you doing that over there? Micromanaging. Yeah, that thing.
Yep.
And so as we're kind of closing up, that if you could give anybody wanting to start their own business one piece of advice, or even just some advice in general, but what would you say would be the main thing that, hey, this is what you need as you're going out on your own?
Find something that you're not going to lose the vision for, right? Find something that you're actually passionate about, that you get that self-fulfillment from. Because if you start a business just to start a business, like if I were to go start a car wash, I'd be freaking miserable. I'm not trying to run a car wash. Your vehicle looks great when it's gone through my car wash, but does that give me the satisfaction that I need as a human? Me personally, no. I truly need to help my fellow man, no matter what. It's just how I've always been. And if you follow a passion like that, you will find success. It's all about just never losing sight of the bigger picture, which is, what we talked about a lot. If you don't have that vision and you don't know where you're headed, you can't plan any steps in between, which means that you might be going horizontal on the football field. Where's the goal line, sir? Oh, it's that way. You got to go vertical. You're not Barry Sanders. You're not going to just get everybody to go back and forth, and then you're just going to sneak your way through and get a touchdown. It doesn't work like that. Just drive straight up the middle. That's what you need to do.
Absolutely. And I think I'm trying to remember who I heard say it was find something you love to do it so well that you do it for free, but you do it so well, people are going to pay you to do it.
This is that you literally just nailed it on the head, because when I was first starting this, I wasn't charging anybody anything. I was just having fun connecting with people over meetings and saying, hey, what if you tried this? Or what if you tried this? Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, here, I'll show you. And that was like the most fun part of the business was going through and picking and choosing the clients that I really wanted to work with, and just kind of saying, what are your problems? How can I help you? So, yeah.
Absolutely. And so, Andrew, I appreciate you getting on and spending a little time with us here on the Clark Connection podcast. How do my listeners get in touch with you, man?
That's a good question. You can either visit the website, which is automate-integrate.com. You could also just send me an email, andrew@automate-integrate.com.
And we're going to put all that down below. You look in the description, all of his information is in there. Anything else you wanted to give the folks before we hop off?
No, just go out there and do good, because it'll come back to you.
Absolutely. Andrew, we appreciate you hopping on. As always, it's a fun time.
My pleasure.
What an awesome episode that was. That wasn't Andrew awesome? And look, they hit him up. He is amazing. And for those of you that have made it this far, we're going to have a secret message, okay? That I want you to drop a phone emoji in the comments. Don't tell anybody what this is about. They see it and they're going to be wondering. Tell them to go watch the rest of the show. Andrew was wonderful. We got to learn so much talking to him about growing your business and growing yourself, and just how important all of those things in leadership tie together, that as we go on this journey. Now, he talked about the 3 previous businesses that he had that led to him being able to get here to create Automate Integrate Services, and how it was important when they closed that 3rd business. He learned so much that through the next line of work that he was at, that it re-inspired him to go back and work for himself. That's so much good stuff that in this episode that it's hard for me to recap it for you guys. And so look, if you're struggling with any of those things in your business, or the place you work, give Andrew a call. He's wonderful to work with. Like he said, he's literally just looking to help you. He almost always gives that first service for free, but tell him Coach Clark sent you, and that he may have some other special deals that he can do for you. And then those of you that are looking for personal growth and development, and just to develop yourself as a leader, look, hit me up. You can just drop a comment if you want, or connect with me on any of the socials on my website, fill out a form, and I will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. I would love nothing more than to help you get started on your personal growth journey, your entrepreneur journey, whatever journey you're on. That would love to be able to help you with that. And with that, guys, I will see you on the next episode of the Clark Connection Podcast. Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection Podcast, where my goal is to add value to you. Make sure you like and follow the show. You can also connect with me via my website, coachaclark.com, or on all socials at coach_A_Clark. The links are in the description. Huge thanks to my sponsors, Wayne with 7K Metal Associates, Bobbie at A Comfy Quest LLC, and Andrew at Automate Integrate Professional Services. We look forward to bringing you more great content. See you next week.